everyone. This is your host, Jan Marcos, and welcome to MatuChat Blue version, episode 2. In this episode, I am going to talk about the topic of rehabitting. And for those who don't know, yes, it is sort of a word that I kind of made right now. And it's because I've been thinking about what it's been like to move and to live in a new area, especially here in Minnesota. And I've always said that when you move out and you go into your new space, your new area, your new environment, your old habits, they start breaking apart. Because obviously, when you live your entire life in a certain area, in a certain way of structuring your life, you go into a new area, you need to adapt. And sure, some things like organization, where your clothes go, maybe those things stay the same. But let's say you have a bad habit, and let's say this habit is alcoholism. I personally, I don't deal with alcoholism, thank God. Those who do deal with alcoholism, I wish you well. And those who do it conventionally, occasionally, then don't worry about it. But let's say you deal with that, and you're trying to substitute that old type of habit with a new form of habit, and you want to substitute it and become a better version of yourself that doesn't involve you heading into a sort of same route as you were before. And so I'm trying to deal with that currently in the situation. With me, it could be, of course, I'm very complex person. Yeah, everyone is complex in their own way. But maybe the way your mind is, negative thoughts, or the way you evaluate yourself, or the way you feed yourself, all of that takes into account your past environment. So going into this new environment, you want to create and nurture those good habits that will lead to a more positive life down the road. And so these few days here in Minnesota, luckily I live in an area where there's a trail. And in my personal Instagram, I've been trying to post every picture that I see of my different findings and different trails that I do find. And I think it all went down the hill the first time I made my dinner here in Minnesota. For those who don't know, this is my first time living alone, or living or being independent, without the family supporting me on my side. Because for those who live in the States, the culture is kind of different. See that in Puerto Rico, if your family lives close by to the university, and your family's kind of lower income, you can stay where you live. And I think this is a general rule for low-income people. If you live close to your college, then you do not usually you do not move out from your parents. You spend more time with your family. You study there. That could be good or bad. I think it's up to the decision of every student. Of course, every household is kind of different. You don't want to stay in a household that's very abusive. And if you want to create your own life and you want to take the chances, then go for it fully. But I have a loving home, luckily, and so I decided to stay there. But remember that we, as children, as teenagers, and now as young adults, we develop not so good habits unless you always had them since childhood. But in my opinion, I didn't have them. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to manage cleaning clothes and cooking and trying to live by myself, because I always had people around me, and always having that motherly side. And I think to a certain point, you lay back. You lay back and you say, it's okay, mama's got it. And even if you try, I know some others aren't like that. They're like, no, you do it. I want you to do it. But my mother and a lot of people's mothers also like, no, I know that you're struggling with university. I want to be there and help you any way I can at the moment. And I appreciated that. But I realized that for me, it was not helping me grow. And especially, it was not allowing me to be self sufficient in that sense. Um, because remember that you want to get to a point where you control your environment. You and it's all in the small things. Obviously, we don't control what our boss says. We don't control whether the university or people in the university have a bad day and they treat you badly, or if a car hits us. Well, we can't control that. But let's say they are drunk or something like that and they hit you. We can't control those things, but we do control our room. And if we can control our diet, if we can control all those things, they give power to us. They do give power to us, and those are the things that help us grow in the long run. And those are the things that I cherish personally. And so in this thing of rehabbiting, I was trying to develop, and everyone has their own routine, to try to create their new habits for this person that they want to be, a Chad or the female version of a Chad. I don't know, Sophia, Victoria, I don't know, whatever the woman Chad version is. But we all have this image of the type of person, and it doesn't have to be Chad, it has to be John or me, John. Um, what type of future is John visualizing himself to be? And so in this new environment, I try to cultivate that who's that independent John is going to be. And so I know that living in the States, I'm going to suffer cold. So in the morning, I'm taking a cold shower. Yep. I work, well, I'm also trying to wake up at 5 a.m. to make most out of the day. I'm going for a run and I'm trying to do a workout video. And I'm not that well adjusted to a lot of exercise, and sometimes health can be an issue and whatnot. But I wanted to, that's the person I want to create moving forward. Someone who exercises in the morning or exercises regularly, that can withstand, they can take self-imposed stresses like taking a cold shower. Eventually you get to a point where it's nothing, but the challenge becomes then try to take a cold shower in the night. Now that's hell. I know some people can do it like it's nothing, but that's really hell. I'm still not used to it yet. Hopefully I will be though. Um, and so what happened was, and I went off on the tangent here, but what happened was that when I was making dinner, I made dinner. I made a chicken Alfredo with mushroom pasta, and I could add a little bit more salt, but it was good overall. Um, and what happened was that I slept late. I slept like at 10:30, and my body here needs to adjust to sleeping entirely. You can't be not sleeping like at 9 or at 8:30 or stuff like that. And so the next day, I fell to previous bad habits. I noticed that, well, I don't think I went for a run in the morning. I slept more, so I didn't have more time in my hand. And I didn't make time anyway. And so I let that disappointing mindset control me in that point. And I just went on, did my bad habits. And then the next days, it became a little bit worse. And then today, it became even worse. Though I do give myself credit because I did exercise in the morning and I did take my cold shower. But I did eat today outside. I didn't eat my pasta that I have stored up. I decided to uh, control myself and bought some food, fast food, Taco Bell today, which I enjoyed. Yeah, of course, I enjoyed, but it doesn't fit the bigger picture. See, I want to become healthier. I want to try to save up money, and I want to eat the food that I make, but especially so it can be foods of quality. And so I'm not doing myself any favor by buying these fatty foods or fast food restaurants or none of that. And so now I'm kind of in a position where I'm kind of disappointed. I'm kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to fall to the same patterns that I had at home. I don't want to eat outside. I want to be healthier in that sense. What can I do? And I couldn't even study for one of the tests that I have to take that's close by because of this disturbance that, hey, you are in a new area and you want to become a new type of person. You don't want to fall into the old habits and none of that. And so, well, now it's time to rethink and those habits that I started when I arriving to Minnesota, I need to reimpose them. Now it's a battle of habits. I've developed some good habits before falling into the other bad habits. And now I need to try to rewire my mind so it doesn't fall back to the rewiring that I escaped from back home, if that makes sense. And so I'm just right now, I was going to do my journal. I said, let's just do a podcast. Let's just talk about this. Let's talk about how I feel about this situation and how I plan to move forward. So I'll just put my alarm again, try to sleep. Today is now like 6:30, I think. Plan out my sleeping schedule well. Eat the food that I made, make my own food, and hopefully down the road start seeing some of those differences. And so if anyone can relate to this, please leave a comment, subscribe if you're listening from YouTube, or comment in the IGTV or Instagram feed. So those has been my thoughts for this episode. Thank you for joining MatuChat Blue version, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.